Insider, we got a special guest joining us today who recently graduated from LMA. She'll be sharing with us in terms of her experience on board LMA, how she found the whole journey and everything in between. So it's a pleasure to have you. Let's just start with the first question, which is just introduction question. What's your full name, where you're currently based, and what you're currently up to?
Okay. Hi, Tim. Thanks for having me. I'm Amy Woonwell, and I live in East Aurora, New York, which is 20 minutes outside of Buffalo. And I'm a single parent and an artist.
Okay, awesome. We're going to rewind back time right now, Amy. Okay. Before you came across our work, before you enrolled in LMA, if you could give us a bit of a glimpse, what was actually happening back then in terms of problems that were showing up in your life? What did that look like and feel like to you?
Oh, I've been caught in a state of confusion and flux, I always call it, because I was an overthinker. I had a lot of traumatic events in my life and that I had to overcome, but it created in me PTSD and a fear-based state. And it was really hard to overcome it with two little boys. So I used to live in England, funnily enough, for 16 years. And I ended up moving back to America in 2011. And even though everything kind of settled, for 6 years, I was still in such a tense state. And then 2016, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor. So after that, I was just trying to get my life back on track, but it's like been a struggle. So before LMA, I was always caught in anxiety, overthinking, very stressful state.
Right. When were you overthinking the most? What normally was happening when you were just thinking too much?
When?
Yeah.
When was it?
When did you feel?
Every single day, all throughout the day. No matter where I wasn't really present. I used to pride myself that I could multitask. I had no idea that was detrimental to me.
Mm.
And I was multitasking constantly and overthinking everything and just kind of trying to play chess in my mind to make sure my son's life and my life was safe, healthy, and well-rounded. I didn't realize I was my own worst enemy at the time. I was living in the past constantly. It was really hard to break free of that. It's extremely hard. So
Right.
basically, before I saw your ad, I had gotten to a point during this pandemic that I was kind of like, I should use this pandemic for the powers of good. How can I get back to the Amy I used to be? Because I know she's in here. And I had to go back in my mind and try and think of, was it this traumatic event or was it this traumatic event? And I had to keep going back and back. And I realized where it was. And then I was like, you know what? I need to feel excited for life again. How can I retrain? And then all of a sudden you popped up on my screen.
On YouTube, was it?
Yeah, it was a YouTube ad.
Okay.
And I normally see those and I usually hit skip.
Right.
But something about your ad was different. I don't know, like the way you turned around and you had the blue sea behind you and you're just so calm and you just seem so real. And I thought, oh, I'm going to give this guy a chance. And you just seemed really real, whereas the other ones seemed a bit fake and pre-programmed. And when you sign up for that next interview or whatever, the presentation,
Webinar.
it's usually pre-recorded.
Mm.
And yours wasn't. So I was like, oh, this is really cool.
Okay. So that's essentially how you came across our work. You said you also lived in England. Which part?
Oh, I lived in different parts of London. I lived in Chiswick, Muswell Hill. We bounced
Wow.
around a lot.
I
And
didn't realize that. That's awesome.
yeah. And I lived in
London.
Cambridge. And then, I mean, I was over there 16 years. So, and then I ended up in Biggleswade, Potts, and we moved around quite a bit in 16 years.
Wow. I didn't know that. That's awesome. Okay. So you came across our work and you joined the free webinar and you came across the opportunity to join LMA. If you were to be honest, did you have any fears or any hesitancy before making that decision to enroll?
Oh yeah, big time. For me, it's all about finance. It wasn't about you, it was finance, because through my divorce and everything, I wasn't able to, for safety reasons, leave my children alone. So that's where the PTSD comes from.
Mm.
And I used to be able to work out of the house, but I had to figure out how to be clever and stay in the house. So my kids are 16 and 13 now. For a very long time, I've been stuck in this state of penny pinching, and being frugal to so much that I'm restricted. I mean, we had a good life. We have a decent life, but it's just very stressful. So to part with the cost of this initially was, whoa, I never spend money like that on me. And I had to actually really quickly decide that it's about time that I spend some money on me, because it will help all of us. It'll help my children too. So I took the leap of faith, even though I was terrified. And I thought, oh, it's going to work out. It's going to work out.
Right. And you were saying, you know, you was experiencing overthinking prior to that. So were you having a lot of thoughts in terms of like, shall I do it? Shall I not? Like, and what sort of thoughts were you having, if you were having any?
I was exactly what you just described. I was hesitant and just, should I do it or should I not? And also, is it going to be good value for my money? Because I don't mind spending a decent amount of money as long as I'm going to get out something fabulous. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, yeah, I suppose I'm just curious to know, I mean, you decided to really take that leap in a way because you decided to invest in yourself, and you're saying you're struggling with letting go during that period. So what made you want to say yes then? Because it seems like it was quite a big risk for you. What made you want to say yes?
Well, I think that we're skipping over a lot of mini steps that have happened to me throughout this journey. So throughout the journey of the last couple of years, with waking up after my craniotomy, I was just like, wow, I get to live every day as if it's day one. And then here you're saying it's day one. So I've gone through a lot the last couple of years, and it kind of set the building or the stepping stones for making that decision and trusting more in faith and God and spirit, whatever you want to call it, universe, and getting more into flow by letting go and trusting and faith. And actually, I believe synchronistically, that's why I was guided to you, because I tend to live very spiritually, and I'll ask, okay, who should I go to next? What knowledge needs me to be absorbed or put in front of me now? And at that point, you came right in front of me, like within like 2 days of asking for it. Bang, you were there. So not only was I trusting in me, but I was trusting in you. You know, you as a human and your vibe that you exude, you know? So I felt very comfortable. I mean, there was a terror, but I also thought, oh, if I don't do this, I'll never know, you know?
So you took that step forward. What would you say surprised you the most when you got involved with our work? What ended up surprising you?
Oh, how simple it is. And you make it so simple. And the exercises are brilliant. I've done so much of this stuff that it seems like I think everybody else overcomplicates it, including myself. But you made it really simple and easy. And you taught me things that I never even thought. Like what I just referred to before is I used to think multitasking was amazing. And then I realized, no, it's not amazing because I'm spread too thin. So that's been big. And how quickly I have assimilated your lessons is awesome too. I think I'm like a sponge. I'm just so ready for it that I'm just taking it in. And you said something like, you can be right or you can be rich, you said last week. And I'm stubborn by nature. I'm A-type Aries. And I really am open to hearing that now. Whereas probably 10, 20 years ago, I'd be like, I'm just going to be stubborn. So I've learned my lessons, and they didn't work. Like what you said at the beginning of the class is, we know what failure is. What we've been doing consistently, what has that gotten me? Hasn't gotten me anywhere. So I'm open to, okay, I want others who are successful to teach me the way.
So what would you say, which module for you resonated with you the most and why?
Oh, that's really hard because I love them all. Oh, I know the answer to that question. It's week 2, and the progress throughout the week to get to the last day of the 6 layers of emotion ladder. I love that week because ultimately you need, or I need to go through that to let go of the past, you know? And the minute you once I worked through that and let it go, and I did that exercise multiple times.
Oh, really?
Yes,
How
because it's
come?
so good. What?
So you did it
It's
for different people or?
different people. And even as the same person, I just kind of did it on different days and just kind of thought, I need to keep exercising this because I know it's big. And I just really felt all of a sudden, maybe on my 5th time of doing it, I had a really good breakthrough that I realized that it wasn't these people I needed to forgive, it was myself. And then I was like, whoa, mind blowing. So I love that. I love that week. And then that helps to clear everything so that I was more receptive to all the weeks ahead, you know? So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's a deep week, week 2. That's a very
Yes.
heavy week. And I suppose it gets everybody ready for week 3. What would you say overall, in terms of what LMA incorporates? We've got, of course, the community, the mentorship, the lessons and so forth. What made you feel overall the happiest about LMA?
The happiest. I really like the Facebook group. That's really awesome support network. But not only that, is one of my personal fears was public speaking. Now I've been put in positions throughout my life where I shied away from it. And inside I felt like a coward because I knew I could do it and I just took the easy way out. So the fact that you have the option to do the Heartfluencer challenge is really smart and clever. And for me, I'm always up for the challenge. I always want to win,
Mm.
you know, or at least try. I try to win.
Yeah.
um, so I had to do that. And I think that was brilliant. Just doing the Facebook Lives is really good because it really hones in what we learned that day. But also it's so many layers of education for me, all of us, because if you look at my very first ones, it's amazing. I'm sure everybody, right? Day 1 versus like their 60th video. Same with yourself. So I'm actually really proud of myself that I actually overcame it. I didn't shy away and I did it. And I keep doing them.
Yeah. In fact, I saw your selfie video earlier on in the group. Yeah. So
Oh,
I suppose I'm curious to know in terms of the Facebook. I think the moment we even talk about Facebook, it tends to sometimes scare a lot of people. Were you quite active on Facebook prior to that? Did you have any fears about joining this group and being open, or?
I've been active on Facebook since it started because I lived in England at the time. So I've
Oh,
been
okay.
active, but I'm not fearful of Facebook. I'm fearful of Facebook Lives.
Right.
And I also was always worried about what other people thought.
Mm.
And that's a big lesson is that when I'll be honest, I looked to see how many people are in the Facebook Heartfluencer group or LMA group. And at the time it was like 921 or something. And I was like, oh my God, they're going to all be watching me. And then you do it and you realize 0 or 1 or 2. And then through time, you're like, oh, okay. So it was amazing because it's a really good lesson to realize not everybody is watching you. We
Def-
all think inside ourselves, like you said this in one of the weeks that actually this last week, right? That we're all in our heads. We all have our own movie, but everybody has their own movie. So it's kind of funny how we make ourselves so important when we're really not.
yeah,
Not everybody's watching.
definitely. The cameras, we always feel like it's on us, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
24/7, right? You know what, Tim? I
Mm.
actually pushed myself after this last week and I did my first Facebook Live to everybody. And it was
Really?
actually fun
For your business, as in promoting your business?
just for myself. Well, it is kind of tied to my business. It's my personal one, but I do have a page and that's just huge for me. I just shared that I won the prize. I shared the class, what I was learning and that I was facing a fear and that I'm growing and all of that. And I would never have been able to do that 7 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago.
Wow.
If you'd have told me I was doing that now, I would have been like, yeah, right.
Yeah. And I think for people who's watching right now, if you're wondering what the prize is in reference to, essentially Amy took part in the live LMA virtual event, which is the live version of LMA. And we offer grand prizes. The top prize is World-Class Achievers Retreat. And she essentially won it out of, I think, 300, 400 people who are essentially registered to attend these live events. So she went all in. So I suppose the next question makes logical sense in terms of what made you really commit to this journey on that level and win this prize, essentially.
Well, to commit to the whole journey is ultimately committing into myself. And I
Mm.
just figure that I'm 51 years old, and the majority of my life, I have let others, in my mind, I have given control to everybody else. And I just thought, it's time for me. I want the next 40, 50 years of my life to be that opposite almost of what I've experienced, because I have no excuses anymore. I'm an adult, and I just thought, if I'm going to do it, I might as well do it 100%. See what happens. I can't half try, you know? So that's how I went for the prize. And that's how I do every day with your workbooks. Like I take it very seriously. It is fun though. I guess I'm just really open and ready for it. So I love it. I love this stuff.
Nice. So what sort of changes have you experienced in your life as a result of LMA?
I'm a lot more confident. I'm actually more at ease, and even interacting with my children. I'm not over explaining. I'm not overthinking. I am present, more focused. I'm learning to schedule my time. Oh, it's like freed up my life so much, because I didn't realize how I was busy being busy, as you say, busy being busy. And that Toggle app was incredible, where I tracked what I was doing, just even how much time I was spending on dishes. So I learned to recruit my children who are fully able and capable of helping out. So yeah, my life's incredibly changed. And I'm looking forward to season 10, because every time I go through this, it's going to make everything a lot better and more clearer.
Yeah, definitely. My final question is going to be this, Amy. So if you could jump on a call with your previous self, let's say when you were on the brink of making that decision on whether or not to join LMA or not, because there's a chance you could have said no, definitely, right? There's a 50-50. What would you say to your past self right now who's thinking about making this decision, having now gone through this journey?
I would say just go for it, do it, because this money's only money. Money's just pieces of paper, and you're worth more than that. And the money always comes. Money always comes. And I would also say, if you added up all those cappuccinos and all those smoothies that you're buying and whatever other things that you don't need, that adds up very quickly. And you'll realize that this isn't that much money, you know? Like you see the price and you're like, but if you add it up in a month, or 2 months, whatever you spend on yourself, it's really not that big a deal. But I would just say, go for it. Listen to your heart. Actually, that's what I did. Listen to your heart. I was whispering in my ear, listen to your heart, not your head, Amy.
Okay. Well, Amy, like you say, this is just a new beginning, right? It's not the end, and you're going to continue on this journey with us. So it's been an absolute pleasure, journeying with you thus far. But we're only getting started, as I like to say. So it's been a pleasure. And for those of you who are tuning in right now, I just want to say thank you so much for your time also. And as always, follow your heart and take action.